I get asked this question all the time, so I figured I would reply with a video. So we actually met on Snapchat in July of 2024, and we didn't meet IRL until December of 2024. So at first, I wasn't actually looking for a relationship, but we exchanged WhatsApp numbers anyways. I'm a truck driver, so of course I could yap all day long, and he was just really somebody that was easy to talk to. When I say talk, I mean we talked for 12 to 15 hours a day, like probably even more than that. So even though we had only been talking for around 5 to 6 months before we met IRL, it felt like I was not meeting a stranger, honestly, because we had spent so much time getting to know each other over the phone through conversation that I felt like I knew him forever when I met him. So at this point, it has been 2 years that we have been long distance. Well, not a full 2 years, but almost 2 years. And I am so ready to be with him, whether it's here in the US, whether it's in Afghanistan. Also, and this is just my opinion, I think more women in the US should get out of the box and date more men outside the US, marry more men outside the US, whatever you want to do. Because men, I feel like, they're just not it. Like, here in the US, the red pill content, the 50-50, like, I just could never understand that. And I feel that men that are, like, from other countries, they've been raised with different values, around family, partnership. Obviously, though, every relationship is different. Every man is different. This is just my personal experience, and taking a chance on somebody that I would have never thought I would actually fall in love with was the best decision I ever made.
Get ready with me while I tell you why my husband failed his immigration interview. We started this process about a year ago. It was January 20th to be exact when we filed our first paperwork. Honestly, we're one of the lucky ones when it came to the first stage, which is the I-130 form that you have to fill out. We got really lucky because there was like an exemption for Afghan immigrants, and we bypassed a lot of the time that it takes to get through that stage, which is normally about a year. And it costs about $650 to $700 to file that form. Exemption was that Afghan immigrants got to bypass that. Our form was processed within 2 days. We got an approval within 2 days, which is almost unheard of. Also, let me go ahead and say that we are actually extremely lucky given the circumstances to other people, like compared to other people who have gone through this immigration process. And we are extremely grateful that we are in a good place to be able to kind of afford all of the forms and not take a huge financial loss, because people lost their lives through this immigration process and the travel ban. Nonetheless, we still lost thousands of dollars. The forms, just in the forms alone, we probably invested about $1,000 to $1,500. I don't remember the exact amount. The biggest expense was probably just paying for his visas. He's from Afghanistan, so it's extremely hard for him to get a visa. It's extremely expensive. There's only a few countries that actually allow for Afghanis to get a visa and travel to the country. As you may know or you may not know, Afghanistan doesn't have a U.S. embassy. Once they pulled out of Afghanistan in 2021, it was closed down. So a lot of Afghanis will interview in third-party countries. I think Qatar is one of them. Pakistan is the biggest one. Tajikistan was one. At the time, Tajikistan was moving a lot faster than Pakistan because Pakistan was several months backlogged due to COVID. His Tajikistan visa was about $1,400. So we lost, once they changed the law, we lost the money on that. The $1,400 was just gone, like poof. Like I might as well have taken $1,400 and lit it on fire because they changed the law to where Afghanis could only interview in Pakistan. So then we got his visa to Pakistan, which was also another $1,200. So a little bit cheaper, but it's still pretty pricey considering it's literally just a 6-month visa. So that's it. We're ready for his interview. He has his visa. He's all prepared to go to Pakistan. And we get his interview letter about mid-November. And then the news broke in the beginning of December that they were going to indefinitely suspend Afghani immigration visas all across the board. We were extremely sad, we were confused, and we really did not know what was going on. We were crossing our fingers hoping that it would be blocked, but it's still in place. We didn't know if he should go to his interview or not, but at that point, like, we'd already spent the money on his visa, his plane tickets, and everything that came with that. So we didn't really have a choice. We were kind of backed into a corner. He attended his interview in Pakistan on January 21st, as I mentioned earlier, and they did give him his 221G, which basically is, you know, his denial. Fine, it's supposed to be a final denial, but we're hoping that once the ban is lifted with the next president, most likely, that he will be able to just get his visa stamped and not have to go back through the whole process again, because the immigration process takes about 2 to 3 years on average, so it could be longer than that. At the end of the day, my husband was denied not because of anything that he did or anything that was on his background, but because of, like, policy and the dumbass president. Like, sorry to say it, but it's true. Also, my husband is a really good man. Like, he worked for UNICEF and he provided, you know, a lot of support for homeless children in his country, in Afghanistan. He is literally twice the man that Donald Trump could ever be. So now my husband is back in Afghanistan and we are deciding on what we want to do next. I am a dual citizen, so I have citizenship in America because I was born here, and I also have citizenship in Jordan, so we don't know if maybe, like, we could start an immigration process in Jordan, but we honestly don't want to wait for another immigration process. And the other option is for me to just move to Afghanistan. We can't keep waiting for the laws to change or stalling our lives any longer than what we already have. My husband means the world to me, so I am not gonna let somebody like Donald Trump determine the rest of our lives and our future. Hopefully we get some more clarification within the next few months, but I don't foresee that happening, so I definitely think that Afghanistan is going to have to be the move for me, unfortunately, but I am very excited to see my husband because it has been so long, and married couples should not have to spend years and years apart. So follow along for my journey, and hopefully we can figure something out within the next few months.
To the lady that's moving to Afghanistan for the men she met on Snapchat, as an Afghan man myself, having been born and raised there, I got 3 advice for you. The first one is, sit your ass home. Sit the fuck down and listen to what everybody's been telling you. We're still trying to process and recover from the story of the French lady who was imprisoned in Pakistan for 12 years. And now you're going...
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
Second, like, nobody's being ignorant. Nobody's saying all Afghan men are bad. Or nobody's presupposing a bad judgment on your man either. He could be a sweetheart. Who knows? For all we know, he's just a man. And that tells a lot, by the way. But anyway, the problem is, and what people are concerned about is the lack of legal guardrails. Lack of legal guardrails that you're not going to have when you're actually going to have to need them. My second advice to you is that, okay, if you end up going and you do not listen to everybody and you just go against the world and go and find yourself in Kabul and whatever that guy is, my second advice to you is to not live with his family past 5 days. Track your travel progress. Have a good sense of when are you going back. Third, everything goes to shit. You find that he's abusive, he's keeping you in, and you're being abused. My advice to you is, yes, maybe not try to approach authorities because they might not be on your side. Get back on your media. Get back on social media as soon as you can. Reach out to other Afghans, whether they're in diaspora, whether they're in Afghanistan, creators particularly. reach out to elderly people in Afghanistan, because in Afghanistan most domestic abuse cases are solved or resolved through through arbitration by tribal elders, not necessarily authorities. So do that if you can. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, Afghan women who are in Afghanistan or who are diaspora but have extended family in Afghanistan will not go to do that thing because of they're scared of the legal guardrails. But you would do that, but that's on you. That's on you. But just somebody send this video to her, because I also just gave her like some pretty solid technical tips.
Did you guys see this girl who is planning to travel to Afghanistan in a few weeks time? Now, when I started to follow her story, she was saying she's traveling in 2 months. Now it's just few weeks left because she is traveling in August and she's just ready. Everything is set. Her bags are packed. Her flight is booked and all of that. But she does not want to hear anybody who tells her the things that are happening in Afghanistan, because other people who have stayed there, who have been married, who did the same thing as she is doing right now, have been telling her in the comment section that you are making a huge mistake. There are a lot of things that do not favor women in Afghanistan. So she refuses to listen. Now she says that she met her husband on Snapchat in 2024, I think July, if I'm not mistaken. You're gonna hear her explain how she met her husband, but they met in real life in December 2024, and that was the only time they met. And they tried to apply for him to come to the US. His green card was approved, and then there was a ban that was on Afghanistan people and all of that, and he was restricted from coming to the US. So now this lady is preparing. She has already packed her bags. She is ready to move to Afghanistan. So she has been hearing all of these things that people are saying about Afghanistan, which is that women are not allowed to read books, women are not allowed to do this, and there are a lot of kidnappings and then all of that good stuff, or all of that bad stuff, right? So she asks her husband, his family members, and everybody, but these people refuse to tell her the truth. They only told her that these things that are happening because these things are happening. It's not true. It's just that people are trying to push a narrative to make our country look bad and all of that. And she decided to believe her husband's side, which was okay. Very much okay. You can believe what you want to believe and you can do whatever you want to do with your life. But for her safety, moving from the United States to Afghanistan is very, very dangerous, especially with the kidnappings and all of that. Those people, they'll be targeting her. To be specific, they might leave the Afghanistan people and target her because she is not from there. So we're just going to go through some of the things that are happening in Afghanistan that do not favor women at all, that baby girl refused to listen to. So if you want, you can follow her story. This is her TikTok channel where she's posting everything. And some people say that her documentary is going to be 7 hours long, because the way she's ignoring every red flag, the way she's ignoring every warning that people are giving her, it's going to be a big documentary, I tell you, if ever there is one. So one of the reasons why she says she doesn't want to stay in the US is because they applied for a visa for her husband after they got married and all of that. They applied for a green card and whatnot, and he actually got his green card. But there was a ban on Afghanistan people. What are they called? I don't know what they are called, but there was a ban on those people, which are the Afghanistan of Afghan. I don't know what they are called. So he was restricted from coming into the US. And other countries, they also have like some restrictions also from those countries, from that specific country. So women in Afghanistan, they are not allowed to travel alone without a male chaperone. Women are legally prohibited from traveling or moving around in public spaces without a male relative. Mandatory full face and body covering. Women must wear thick, loose-fitting garments like long dresses, you know, those things that they wear in Afghanistan and other places, to cover their body shapes, their faces, and everything. No tight clothing, bright colors, or perfume are permitted. If they don't allow perfume, just ordinary perfume, what other thing are they not allowing women to do in Afghanistan? So it continues, no speaking loudly in public. So if you're a woman, you're not allowed to speak public. They say that a woman's voice is legally deemed private. Women are prohibited from singing, reciting, or speaking loudly enough to be heard outside the home or by unrelated men. Why is it always about men? Why is it always about men? Is it because they are these, kidnappers and all of that? Why is it always about men? So this is the reason why women are not supposed to speak loud and all of that. They are also banned from parks, gyms, and salons. So obviously, I'm sure they don't do their hair or anything, because if you're not going to the salon, how are you going to do your hair? Women are completely banned from entering public parks, amusement parks, fitness centers, sports field, and beauty salons. So why do they have beauty salons if women are not allowed to go there? Or is it just for men? It's really weird how people are living in Afghanistan. And baby girl decided not to listen to any of these things, and she decides to trust her husband's family, who say that all of these things are not true, but it's public information. You can search it anyway. Everywhere is there that these people are not allowed to do these things and all of that. No looking at unrelated men. You are not allowed to look directly at the faces or bodies of men who are not their blood relatives or spouses. No interacting with unrelated men, no public transportation alone, banned from higher education and most work. So women are not even allowed to work in Afghanistan. This girl said that she's just going to be going around Afghanistan and see nature and all of that. She is living in a fairy tale, and she is just not listening to anyone. The Delulu is really deluluing, because how can you see all of these things and decide to take sides with your husband's family after hearing all of these things that people are saying and that the internet is giving you? Like, really, if you are not allowed to even read books in Afghanistan, you are not allowed to read books. How are you going to help yourself? Because she saved a lot of money. She said she saved a little bit of money to travel there and it can sustain them. What if that money is finished? Not like it's going to sustain you forever, and we don't know what is going to happen there. I have been following her story. You can follow her story too. I've put her page, and you can follow her story. We just hope that everything goes well. I hope that she gets there and she finds that everything that the husband's family was telling her is true, since she refused to listen to the people who went there before and decided to leave Afghanistan because of the same thing. Now, if you like this video, do not forget to give me a thumbs up. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Would you travel to Afghanistan for love? Because some places are just not meant for traveling, guys. How can you say you want to go to Afghanistan? This is just like saying I want to go to, is it North Korea? How do you expect to survive in places like that when you are used to a lot of freedom? But anyway, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on my next one. Bye.